So, this is the Nokia 8.1. So, the Nokia 8.1 is mainly a follow-up to the Nokia 7 Plus, even though it doesn't share the same name, but you know, it's just something that they need to work on for me. Anyway, let's talk about the Nokia 8.1 and find out how well this phone holds up and if it impresses me as much as the Nokia 7 Plus did. So, the Nokia 8.1 is following the current design trend with it having a glass sandwich design, which sadly doesn't add any features, and for me, if you don't add any features, I would rather have the texture back like the Nokia 7 Plus. But with that being said, this phone feels solid in the hand and it feels like a high-end phone when it comes down to it. What I do really appreciate with the design itself is the two-tone color effect that they're going for here, with me having the blue and silver color combination. We do however have a pretty big hump on the back where the camera is located, but it does help that it is a centered camera setup, and for myself I really do like the design of this layout. And of course below the camera setup we have the fingerprint scanner that works fast and accurate, with me having no experience issues at all. If there is something however I would have liked to see different when it comes to the design itself, apart from of course the notch, is the buttons themselves. They feel pretty clicky, but they are flat, meaning it doesn't feel as satisfying. I'm not sure if that makes any sense, but they just don't. They feel a bit softer. With the power button though, you can press that twice and it will start the camera even if the device is locked. And while we're on the subject, let's talk about the camera for this one. And straight away I will tell you, this one really impresses me. But let's look at the hardware first. We are of course dealing with a dual camera setup, with the main sensor being a 12 megapixel sensor with a 1.8 aperture and a 1/2.55 inch sensor size, resulting in a 1.4 micron pixel. The second camera isn't much known about, but it's a 30 megapixel sensor that allows depth to be captured. And of course both feature size optics. And to simply put it, in terms of colors and contrast, I love what we get. Pictures look very pleasing with realistic colors, albeit slightly to the cooler side in some cases, but with some slight adjustments to saturation as well. For me, this really works well. In both day shots and low light shots, this is one of my favorite cameras because of the colors itself. It also doesn't make pictures too soft, trying to remove as much grain in low light, which is something that I do prefer. If there is something though that I have to say is that it doesn't always capture the signs with lights behind them properly, overexposing those. In terms of video in Full HD, the stability is really good, giving great result and a really stable video. In 4K we do lose some of that, but it's still very acceptable, with many around this price simply not performing this well. If there is however a weakness again, is that in low light and only in Full HD, it does have some issues with a weird jitter effect going on, which is funny enough removed in 4K, but in both situations it also is struggling with getting enough light in. But for the full camera experience I will leave a link in the description talking about the camera separately, so do check that out if you are interested. But let's continue with the phone itself. The Nokia 8.1 features a 6.18 inch Full HD Plus display and it's an IPS panel, which sadly includes a notch. Its CPU is a Snapdragon 710 and we have 4GB of RAM and 64GB of internal memory, which you can expand via the microSD with 400GB. Next to that we have a decently sized 3500 mAh battery. In terms of software, we are once again greeted with Android One experience, meaning we will get quick updates. Lucky enough though, we do have our own camera app, which is something that I like on Nokia's. And in day-to-day use, with the clean Google experience including the good Snapdragon 710, it will result in the phone that handles itself really well. I haven't experienced any lags and I can play basically any title without any issue. But honestly, that shouldn't come as a surprise with how far we have come with current phones, be it mid-range or high-end phones. And in terms of battery life, I get about 6 hours of screen on time, a bit above it with moderate use. If I use it a bit more, it's about 5 or a bit above 5. Anyway, let's talk about the screen on the Nokia 8.1. Like I said, it has a 6.18 inch Full HD Plus display. and sadly enough it isn't an AMOLED display but an IPS display. But with that being said, it is really a good display with blacks being pretty deep for an IPS panel, making the notch less visible than some other phones I have used before. This includes the LG G7 ThinQ. But like I said, you can still see it, and for me I will never really like this. I think having a screen like the Nokia 7 Plus without a notch is the better way to go about it. It looks more pleasing for myself. What however is really amiss is when you play games or watch videos is that you only have a bottom facing speaker, and while it is pretty loud and the audio isn't bad by any means, you can easily cover this with your fingers. And having an extra speaker directly facing you is a world of difference in terms of audio experience. What however is really good is that we still get this nice and useful universal headphone jack on top, which is something that I truly appreciate. So good job there, seeing how Bluetooth isn't the better option. Yes, I could rant about this the entire day, but I won't do that for this video. So overall, the Nokia 8.1 truly delivers a quality phone here, with it having a much better camera than some others around this price, and also a great build quality, and overall hardly any compromises for this price. There are some parts where they can still improve upon, but trust me, in 3 years or maybe less, Nokia will be a big contender once again, if they keep going at it like this. And for me, I'm eagerly waiting what Nokia will do with the Nokia 9. So the Nokia 8.1, I think this is really a solid device and one of the best, if not the best mid-range phones out there at the moment with its overall performance. However, with that being said, I don't think this is a perfect device. There are some things that could have been improved. For one, having more curves on the bottom than on the top for the display itself just doesn't make sense. The corners just look totally different. It doesn't look good for me. And of course then we have this notch. Having a glass back just doesn't make sense if you don't add any features. And then I would rather have a texture back. Next to that, I think because of that texture back, it just felt better in the hand. Not to mention it made the Nokia 7 Plus, for instance, which I would compare this to, stand out more. It was something different. With this one feels more of a phone that you would see, well, from any other brand. And I think that is the biggest issue for this phone. However, with the Nokia 8.1, I think you can concede some of those features. With the current price for this one, you just get a lot for it. I think this is really a solid offering, and in terms of build quality, even though it lacks Gorilla Glass 5, and in terms of camera, this is one of my favorite phones I have used. I would still pick the Nokia 7 Plus over this one, mainly because of that texture back. Anyway, what do you think about the Nokia 8.1? Let me know in the comments below, and of course talk to you guys in the next one. And if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy more of my content. Have a good one and talk to you guys in the next.